Welcome to another edition of Tech Tuesday presented by Delta Media Group, where we're always looking forward to Rex Manning Day. So today we are going to take a look at the email campaign system. So it is the Campaigns and Action Plans system. We've looked at it before, and we have some Tech Tuesday videos on it in the past. But as we add new functionality and new features, we like to get in and kind of go back over the feature again so that you can see all the new stuff. So without further ado, let's get into it. So first off, if you're in DeltaNET 5, you'll find the Campaigns and Action Plan system under the Customers tab in the side nav. So you'll click on Customers and then click on Campaigns and Action Plans. In DeltaNET 6, you have a few different choices here. So we can go and click on the arrow here next to Marketing to expand that menu, and we have a link for Campaigns and Action Plans. Or if we click on Marketing, you may have a tile here. Now these tiles are customizable from one company to the next, so it depends on your company. However, you may have a link for Manage Campaigns here that will take you to the same page. Or you can also go up here to the Quick Action search box, and you can type in Campaigns, and you can see it comes up in the list here, and I'll just click on Marketing, Campaigns and Action Plans, and that'll take me there as well. So now once you're on the Email Campaigns page or the Campaigns and Action Plans page, you have a few different things you can do. So first of all, you have your Customer Groups widget here. This just displays all of the groups you have in the system, and then also allows you to get in and edit those or delete them. So if I click on my actions, I have some options I can view. I can print my mailing labels from here, edit, or I can delete. Make virtual group is something that you can just go in and do if you're an admin. But for agents, you typically won't have that option. So close that out. You can cycle through your groups or filter them by typing the group name up here also. So we'll close that out. Now the next thing you have here are your default actions, and this just displays some of the pre-built actions for some of the campaigns. That's just kind of a quick way that you can see those. So for example, customers added to all marketing customers are added to customer events. So customer events is the name of the campaign. You can see down here customer events. If I expand it and we go down to customer groups, you can see all marketing customers is being added there. So what that's telling me is that because I put my all marketing customers group in the customer events campaign, it's going to automatically add any customer added to that group into that campaign. So that is all that this is telling you. Now next, you have your actual campaign. So you can see we have quite the list here. What this consists of are any custom campaigns that I've created on my own, any campaigns that I have duplicated from company campaigns, if that's allowed, and also any system campaigns, so these holiday and relationship. These are system campaigns. That means these are ones that we've built at Delta and basically made accessible to everyone. And then lastly, if your company has made any campaigns that they have published or made available to the agents, those will be visible here as well. And that's what most of these are in this case. So now as far as how the individual campaigns work, first and foremost, we'll take a look at one of the company campaigns. So we have a test campaign here at the top, the aptly named test campaign. So I'll click the plus sign to expand that, and you can see the options we have for this particular campaign. Now keep in mind that when the company creates a campaign and makes it accessible to the agents, they have a few different options as far as what they can make editable to the agents. So in the case of this campaign, I do have pretty much free run to edit it and add things to it, but it would also be possible for the company to make a campaign that wouldn't have this new email, new action button up here at the top, because I wouldn't be able to edit it. My only access would be to add customers to it and then just let this company created or company curated content go out on my behalf. So it just depends on the campaign as to what options you'll have. So in order to add customers to this, first I have the customers and groups option here. So I'll go ahead and click on that. And you can see from here I can add or select any of my groups, and that will add those groups to this campaign. So the campaign emails will start going out, or actions will start happening on behalf of any of the customers that are in the group that I added to the campaign, or groups, because I can add multiple by just selecting more than one. And I can also add individual customers to this, so I would just click on their checkbox next to their name here. There we go. And that would add them in. So like the other interfaces in the DeltaNet, anything that is checked has been added to this, and anything unchecked is not. So that's how I would add them in, and just hit save to save my settings. Now the other things I can do here is I can type a name up here to narrow this list down, just to make it easier for me to add users. And I can do the same thing with groups up here. Let's start typing a group name and it'll just narrow the section down. Now the last thing I can do is I can select this radio button up at the top. This would add all new and existing contacts to this campaign. So what that'll do is anybody that is currently in my database or anybody that comes into it later on, no matter how they're added, they would automatically be tacked onto this campaign. So once I have this the way I want, I'll just go here and click on Save. And there you go. And you can see everyone that's added. And now I can also remove them from this section here, or remove everybody all at once from here. So just kind of a convenience option there. Now the next thing I can do is we have the new email, SMS, and action button. Again, this is only going to appear on campaigns I've created myself or campaigns that were created by the company where that level of access has been granted or is allowed on that particular campaign. So to use it, I will just click on the button, and now I can select what I want to add. So my choices are email, SMS, or action. So if I click on email, you can see it opens up an email interface. I can choose what day I want it to send out on, so I'll just type my email content in here. There we go. I'm very creative today. Now my next option is I can choose to send on an interval. So this interval would be based on the day that the customer was added to the campaign. So day 1 would mean the day that the customer is added to the campaign is the day this email will be sent out to them. If I make this, day 30, then that's going to mean they're added to the campaign. 30 days later, it'll send this email out. So the idea here is I can make a series of emails that say, day 1, send this email, day 30, send this email, day 60, send this email. So that's how the intervals work. Date is exactly what it sounds like. I can just pick a specific date to send this on, but keep in mind that I do have options for every month, every year, every day. So if I wanted to say, if I wanted to send an email every day in the month of January, I could do that, and it would send this email every day in January. Or something probably more likely you would do, like if you're setting up a holiday campaign, for example, I could say March 17th every year, and we'll make the email subject Happy St. Patrick's Day. It's my favorite holiday. So this email would then go out every year to everyone that's in this campaign on March 17th. So that's how you set those dates up. Now next, we have an option for birthday, and what that'll do is look at the customer who is in this campaign, and if there is a birthday entered for them, it will send this message to them on that day. So that is how those are set up, and it just allows you to put, sort of intermingle the happy birthday emails into the email campaign, if that is something that makes sense for this campaign for you or for this action plan. And then lastly, we have purchase anniversary. This works exactly the same way, except this one's looking at the most recent purchase anniversary date that is attached to a customer record, as opposed to their birth date. So, and those can be added. We've got other videos that go over in more detail, the ability to add in transactions, add in purchases and purchase history and things to customers. So that is the date that we'll pick that up. Now, once I have this all set up the way I want, I'll just go down here. I can click on Save Draft if I'm not finished with this email and I don't want it to send out in the meantime. So let's say I had this campaign is active, it's all set up, I have a bunch of customers in it, I just want to add a new email to it, but I'm not finished with it, I'm not ready for it to go out. If I just save it as a draft, that email won't actually send. So I'll go ahead and save this as a draft now. And you can see Publish Draft to enable sending. So it's indicating to me that here's the date it'll send, here's the subject. I can view it, see a preview of it. There we go. But I haven't actually published it, so it won't actually send out to people that are in this campaign. If I want it to, we'll just go back to Actions. I can edit my draft and click on Publish. Verify that I'm sure, and now that email's published, so now that one will go out. It'll be particularly strange because I set it to go out on purchase date. So it'll say Happy St. Patrick's Day on your purchase anniversary date. That might throw some people off. So with that in mind, I can go back over to Actions, and I can click on Disable. You can see the button turns red. That means that this email will not be sent as part of this campaign. Or I can just click on Remove and remove it altogether. And it makes me verify, we'll delete email, and now that email's gone. So that is how you add emails into a campaign. Now the next thing you can do, we'll click on our Add New Email, SMS, and Action button again. If you have set up a virtual phone number, and we're going to have more videos on that soon as we add in more of the functionality around the whole SMS and texting functionality from within the DeltaNET. But if you have gone in and set up a virtual phone number, you will have an option here for a new SMS. If I click on that, you can see every element here works exactly the same way. You have interval, date, birthday, that all works exactly the same. However, whatever you put here will be sent as a text message. So just keep that in mind when you type this out. Know that this is going to go out as a text message, so it needs to make sense as a text message, and the content needs to be small enough to work as a text message. So that is how you would set those up. And again, same deal, you can hit Save Draft to save it temporarily, so you can go back in and change it if you're not ready to finalize it, or hit Publish to actually finalize it. So we'll go ahead and back out of that. Now the next thing I can do is I can add an action. So if I click on our Create button again, this time we're going to click on New Action. Again, the dates on these work in exactly the same way, so nothing's changed there. However, what you're doing here is you're actually creating a to-do. So you can see that's the only option here if I click on it. So on whatever day I choose, it is going to create a to-do with whatever text I use here that is going to basically work as a reminder or a task to remind me to do whatever I need to. So for example, if I have a customer that I added to this, we have this send on day 1, so it's really going to set the to-do on day 1 because we're set on interval. So the day I add them to the campaign, in fact, let's change this to day 14. And I'll type in here follow-up call. So now what this will do is when I add a customer to this campaign, the 14th day after they were added, it's going to create a to-do for me to do this in association with whatever the customer is. So in this case, have a follow-up call with that customer. So it's a nice way to add reminders into these campaigns, and you can even intermingle these with emails or text messages so that you have just a lot of options in setting up your own action plans in relation to how you're handling a customer that was added to this campaign or how you're interacting with them. And again, like the others, save draft or publish. So I'll go ahead and cancel that out. Now the next thing we can do here is I'm going to click on Edit Campaign, and you can see we have some campaign options. So the first one here is End Notification. Now what this will do if I enable it is when a campaign or when a customer reaches the end of this campaign, so let's say for example I set this campaign up with 6 emails, and one was to go out on day 1, and then one on day 14, and one on day 30, and just on those intervals until I get to the last one. So let's say the last email goes out on day 60. It'll send that day 60 email to a customer, and then that customer will receive no more emails from this campaign. The end notification will notify me that the customer has reached the end of the campaign. So basically it's indicating to me that since I'm no longer sending messages to the customer from this campaign, that I should either verify they're set up for another campaign, or set them up for a market watch, or do whatever else I need to continue to have the system send correspondence to that customer on my behalf. So the whole point is just notifying you when a customer's reached the end of the campaign and won't get any more emails from it. Now the next thing is Chain Campaign. Now what this does is it actually allows me to kind of butt a campaign up to the end of this one. So a customer could go through this campaign, and then when they reach the end of it, instead of notifying me, the system will automatically insert them into the next campaign, assuming I haven't taken them out of the first one. So that's the idea there. Now there's a note on each of these. If there are recurring events in these, technically the campaign will never end, and therefore they'll never be moved, and the notification will never be sent. Because if I'm telling it to send an email on the 1st of January every year, well, they're never going to reach the end of that campaign, because after it sends on the 1st of January this year, they're going to be set to receive it on the 1st of January next year. So keep that in mind when using these options. But the chain option just lets me select which campaign I would like them to be dropped into when they get through this one. So once I have these set up the way I want, I'll just click on Save, and that would save my settings. So I'll go ahead and cancel, since I don't really want to save that there. Now the next option I have is Duplicate Campaign, but we'll take a look at that here in a moment. First, we'll go through and just look at the other interfaces we have here. So we have our Messages interface. This will show all the messages, action plans, or messages or to-dos that I've added to this, and they'll just be lined up here chronologically based on send date. So this is where you would see and interact with all those. And down here we have customer groups that we went over already. So these are the groups or individual customers that are added, along with the ability to view the groups if a group is in there, or remove them, or remove all. And now lastly, we have the request source interface here. Now the request source interface is nice because what it'll do is look at the request source on a new lead that comes in, and based on that request source, it could put that into a campaign for you. So a good example for this is I could create a campaign just for people that came into my interface from Zillow. So the idea would be a customer went to Zillow, they made a request. I have Zillow Tech Connect set up, so that lead came into the DeltaNET automatically for me. So the system will pick that lead up as having a source of Zillow Tech Connect. So what I could do is have a campaign that is set up just for those particular users because I want to interact with those users in a different way than I would people who just come to my website, for example. So I'm just going to scroll down here, and you can see we've got Trulia ZTC, so that would be Trulia Zillow Tech Connect, and Zillow Group Zillow Tech Connect. So I'll go ahead and select both of those, and I'll hit save. There we go. So now, anytime I get a customer that comes from either of those sources, so they made their request on Zillow and it was piped through to the DeltaNET for me, they will automatically be added into this campaign. So then I could have an email in this campaign that's set to go out on the first day that says, hey, thank you for requesting information on one of my properties on Zillow. Though I might not have the Trulia button checked if that were the case. But that's the idea here. So this allows me to look at where that lead came from or where the lead originated from, and then tailor my interaction with them through this campaign accordingly. So that is how that works. You just select the options here, select the sources, and then click save, and then anybody that comes in from those sources will be added to this campaign automatically. So there you have it. Now the next thing you can do, again, this is primarily comes into play for company campaigns, so it relies on the company campaign being created in a way that the company allows this to happen for this particular campaign. But as long as it was, I will have an option here for duplicate campaign. If I click it, it'll take a moment, and then it will create a duplicate of this. This is mainly useful if the company creates a campaign that's not editable to you, but you still want to go in and create your own, add your own emails to it, or maybe modify when some of the emails go out, or modify the content in some of those emails. If you can't edit the company's campaign, what you could do is create a duplicate of it, and then edit that duplicate campaign. So you would just click on duplicate to do that. Now, if I close that out, you can see it will create a new campaign. I actually created a couple of these earlier. So when you click that button, it creates a new campaign with the same name, but then it indicates that it's a copy and then what day you copied it. So if I expand that one, you'll see that this one is an exact copy of that campaign, except this one has no customers in it. But now that it's a copy, I have the options to go in here, set it as active or inactive. This just turns the whole campaign on or off, so I could actually have this off right after I duplicate it and then go through and fashion it the way I want to, and then turn the whole thing on at once. But if I didn't have the options to edit the original company campaign, creating the duplicate would give me those options on the duplicate campaign. And also because this is my campaign, I have the option of deleting it now. So I can just click on delete and confirm it, and then that campaign goes away. So there you have it. That is how you set those campaigns up. So to create a new campaign, we'll click on Add New Campaigns up here at the top, and we can give that campaign a title. My test campaign, as if I don't have enough test campaigns already. We can then set the scope to private or public. So private means this campaign is only going to be available to me, and public means that I can share this campaign with some other individuals. So I can go ahead and I can share that with a team, or I can select from other agents that I'd like to share this campaign with here. Now this setting may not be on at your company level, so keep in mind that this has to be turned on for you to be able to share campaigns with the company or with other agents within the company. And then next we have the end notification, which is the same as the option under the edit button for existing campaigns, and the same deal with the chain campaign. So I can turn those on here, and I could also select a campaign for this to chain out to from here as well. Once I have that set up the way I want, I'll just click on save, and then that creates my new campaign. So now we have my test campaign here. I can expand that, and then you can see that it's starting off empty, but from here I can go ahead and I can make any changes to it, add in my emails, add in my messages, added customers, and get everything all set up there. So there we have it. And then if I want to delete it, I'll just click on delete and delete campaign. So if you have any questions, comments, feel free to send an email into support@deltagroup.com or give us a call and we'll be happy to walk you through whatever you need. And as always, Thanks a lot, and I'll see you next week.